In Japan, storage becomes an issue. When they are creating storage units, they need to be aesthetic, but also because of the nature of their culture, we don't tend to see a lot of them. We see a lot of specialized ones. For example, we will see specific forms for swords or pharmacists. But what I want to look at are the most common ones that we would see in a home. Now, a little bit of vocabulary. Singularly, or as a chest or storage unit, these are known as Tansu. If it is part of a compound word, it becomes dansu. So same term. Basically, it just means a storage unit. And they can take on a number of different forms. Here we see a number of drawers, and you'll notice the Japanese will often create multiple drawers on a level. Here we have a larger and a smaller drawer taking up the same amount of space as the drawers above. This is because you want to subdivide sometimes. I don't want to put my jewelry in with my underwear. That can be really awkward. Then we start with the Nagamochi, which is a simple chest. This is exactly the sort of thing we would see from the Europeans. The finishes tend to be different, but the form is that classic rectangular chest with an opening top. Here, they've used red, and this is lacquered in the Japanese form, so it's a high-polished, smooth lacquer. They're applying it the same way the Chinese would, but they're polishing it instead of carving into it. Often we'll see red or black used for this purpose. The metal elements are primarily there as decorative forms, also to show off status, since metal is more difficult to come by in Japan traditionally than elsewhere. For example, the Americas, we tend to see more metals used, or in Africa, we tend to see it used more often. This is a unique example because they've set it up on legs, a series of 6 legs, 2 in the front, 1 on each of the narrow sides, and then 2 in the back, just to space it out from the floor. It creates a cleaner feel. Anytime that you don't hide the floor, it's a very clean feeling, just from a human perspective, because we can look under it, we can see what's there. It also adds to their aesthetic, taking care of their environment, in this case, the interior environment. We also see the Isho-dansu, which is a chest of drawers where 2 of them are shortened. In this case, we have an opening door and a drawer in place where these 2 drawers have been cut short. We also see examples where you'll have 3 drawers and then the bottom one will be cut short. But this form can take on any number of different combinations with the drawers. And again, there's a purpose to this. For example, I might keep documents in the doored unit, and then the drawer might be for jewelry, and then here's clothing, for example. Then we have the very famous Kaidan-dansu, and this one is a staircase chest. And in fact, it was used as a staircase in many Japanese homes. It's a multi-purpose unit. It's the sort of thing we would expect in a tiny home today, and it's making the most of the space that they have. So you'll see a combination of drawers, and here's a set of sliding doors, smaller drawers, etc. They're basically putting them in any space that they have while taking into account the shape of the staircase. You'll also notice that the whole thing could be folded down, so this piece can be laid over this piece and create a large rectangular unit should they so choose. Then we see the Mizuya-dansu, which is a kitchen unit. And you can imagine the difference between the storage I need for example, clothing, and the storage I need in a kitchen. In the kitchen, you have numerous small utensils, and for that reason, we have numerous small compartments and drawers to keep things separate, as well as a series of sliding doors at the top, as well as larger sliding doors below. And you could imagine the use here: large pots below, maybe dishware, cups, and then various flatware utensils and cooking implements kept in the drawers. But the whole thing still has that clean aesthetic. It's a nice, clean, simple rectangular form. And then you'll notice the drawers don't match, but of course they do harmonize. So it works out overall. It's a very clean, harmonious unit. And it's a sort of thing that would fit well in a kitchen today, assuming you have a kitchen of sufficient size to bring a unit like this in. I should also point out, Japanese kitchens aren't kitchens in the classical sense today. Oftentimes, they will have a hibachi or something else, and this would sit in the corner of one of the rooms, which that corner of the room would be used as a kitchen sometimes and then packed away so that the space maintains its multi-purpose function. Finally, we have the Shodana, which is actually primarily for merchants, although in the West it will frequently be used as a curio cabinet. And the idea here is to show off as well as store the things that you are selling. That's why we have the shelves. In the West, the curiosity comes from the form as well and the fact that it's Japanese, but the curiosity also comes from the fact that, or the interest comes from the fact that we have the open shelves, which means I can put out my antiques and display them while the entire piece is an antique. And then I've got all of these cupboards and drawers that I can use as well. It's a very simple form, in this case in relief with lacquer carving on it, very much in the Chinese form. And it gives us that sense of hybridization. As we get to the end of the 18th and 19th centuries, we really would have a hard time delineating at times what is Chinese and what is Japanese, because the two societies are trading. They've been trading for generations, and as that happens more and more, you get hybridization, so you get these forms that exist between the two cultures. So it could be Chinese, looking at the carved red lacquerware, the cinnabar, but it's Japanese in form. So very unique piece, and one that will be highly sought after in the West at the end of the 19th and early 20th century.